Hey, it's me again. The light here to guide you through the night. And I wanted to tell you about when you leave somebody, it doesn't mean they've left you. I was listening to a message and it made me really pinpoint and figure out who's who's been doing what. And I knew it subconsciously all along. And I'm talking about someone who's playing dirty when it comes to trying to manifest failure in my life, trying to block me, trying to put fear into my heart. Because people can do this to you. They can send energy your way. They can focus on it. They can look at your picture. They can think of ways to destroy you because they didn't get their way. And I'll tell you a little story. I was very naive at 20 years old. I married somebody 3 days after knowing them. They wrecked my car first, and then we went to Las Vegas and got married. I was told the year before that I would never have children, and that was like the one thing I always wanted was to have children. And I made a decision. I will marry this person. Did not know this person was the devil at the time. Did not know what was going to ensue, the path of hell I was going to walk, which is now how I can be a light to help you make it through the night. Because you cannot know one thing without knowing another. And a lot of us were born into a hellacious life. I've said this several times. We all go through trauma. We all have bad experiences. We all feel disappointment and discouraged. And the sad part is, as you get older, it could be someone sending this energy to you. So like I said, you may choose to walk away from somebody, but they don't choose to let you go. So back to my story of 3 days of knowing someone, marrying them, and wanting children. And at first, I wasn't allowed children. I had many, many miscarriages, a lot of depression. Then one day I just said, I don't care if I am or I'm not. Didn't take a test, didn't nothing. Found out when I was 2 months pregnant. And I was like, doctors don't know everything. Then my daughter came along 3 years later. This path with the devil got even more difficult because this person was a narcissist that had their claws dug into me. And when my attention had to divert to children, that's when the real abuse started. And the physical abuse had already been there. The trying to kill me had already happened before the kids even came along. And this person would lie and deny every bit of it and say, I'm crazy and I'm psycho. They had me believe that at one point. And the battle got bigger when the babies came. I got more stuck. I couldn't figure out how to take care of me, how to take care of them. He had already refused to work because his mindset was, if you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, then I'm a stay-at-home too. He had a $1,000 a month pension, disability pension, from the military. And we lived on that. I made that work. I couldn't work. I couldn't leave my kids alone with him. I had to deal with the struggle. So I'll fast forward through all of the shit nobody needs to hear. Because there are evil people in this world that do things to make you question yourself, to break down your worth. Why? Because they have their claws in you. You're something they want for themselves. We're not meant to be held captive. And the way that I heard it in the message that I had just listened to was, it was a caged bird that got free. I was the bird that got free. And when my captor, husband, friend, confidant, the person I trusted the most, lost me, shit changed. I'm pretty sure he sent a death spell my way because I had driven away in the excursion we had because he took us to Mexico and said, I'm not coming back. And I said, we're not from here. And I found the courage after 16 years to drive this big ass tank, is what the paramedics called it. I had a blowout. And it's funny, the tire that was put on there to replace a tire was the tire that he bought in Mexico. And I laughed after the occasion and said, his final attempt to kill me. Because it had been multiple times. Spiritually, mentally, physically, every way he could have tried to kill me. To break me, to make sure he could keep me in a cage. So I was driving down the freeway, windows down, music blaring, and I had my hand out the window, and I felt so comfortable for the first time in my life. Never realized that death just blew in my face. The tire that he had bought blew out. I was going 65 miles an hour on the freeway. Excursion jerked. Went through a ditch. I ended up on the median after flipping, from what people said, 7 times, landing upside down backwards. And I think I've shared this story before. When it came down to it, I crawled out. I don't know what just happened. Nothing lost. A scratch on my toe. Nothing of importance lost. Luckily, I was alone. But my life was strewn across the feeder road. The side road next to the freeway or highway for people that aren't from where I'm from. And everyone looked at me in amazement. I was not amazed. Keep going forward in my story. Weird shit started happening. It's been still happening up until, I want to say recently, when I finally could cut the cord. Because like I said, just because you leave someone does not mean they leave you. Someone can fall so in love with your energy. And this is a warning for healers and light workers that are people pleasers. They can dig their claws so deep into you that you truly believe they love you. I began to hate flowers because the first time I was sent flowers was after I had my ass beat, drugged down the stairs, an attempt on my life. I looked at those flowers and wished they would die. Brought me flowers a few more times until I created an allergy for flowers. Don't want them. Don't want the petty apologies. And I'm telling you this so you don't accept someone's toxic, nasty, devilish, demonic behavior. Because you deserve more than this. You deserve more than to have to sleep with one eye open, not sleep at all. Sleep deprivation is the biggest way to tear someone down. And this person was in the military. They knew what they were doing because they're taught. But when they leave, they're not untaught. And it's to a point. I make these videos to make sure that a fucking piece of shit like that can't ever touch anybody else whose ears hear the words that come out of my mouth. Because I'm giving you armor. I am teaching you how to show them, I don't fucking need you. Get the fuck away from me. I would rather live in a box. I would rather sleep in the street than to entertain someone as toxic as you. Because if you accept them in your life, the devil can't come in without you allowing the devil to come in. And it's funny, I used to sit down and write stories about God's daughter fell in love with the devil's son. And it was the story of my life. And everything that I was trying to say to people around me without saying it, because if he heard it, he was going to abuse me. It wasn't going to be nice. I was going to pray for my life. I was going to lay in that bed and wish to die. So everything came out of me in a creative endeavor. I've written many stories. I've told many stories. I've sang a lot of songs. And all of that was to protect myself, not realizing I was protecting him the whole time. And I'll tell you right now, John, I don't appreciate any of it. It's all forgiven. Nothing has been lost in my life and everything has been gained. I still send you love and light and pray for you that you will find your way out of the darkness you created for yourself. Because this message can go to more than just him. Everyone's fucking hurt. I've said that in almost every video that I have made today. Everyone has a story to tell. And the sad thing is some people tweak their stories from being their laziness to someone abusing them. It took me a long time to learn the truth about what I had endured. It took me a long time to accept the fact that I chose that for myself. It took me I won't say forever because we're still going. It took me a really long time to forgive myself. All was forgiven with him when I walked away. I don't need to hold a grudge. I even have to tell my children, your father's not here because he was too weak to deal with the demons he possessed. The evilness he invited in because he was too weak to stand up to the bullies. He was too weak to tell the truth. And that hurts having to tell your children. It's not that they didn't love you, they hated themselves. As a parent, as a guardian, it's hard to explain to your children why bad things happened to them when they were young. It's hard to accept the fact that somebody had the hate festering so much in them that they could fuck with their own kids to try to get to the woman they were with, to break her mentally. And I don't even know if this person walks around with shame anymore. Or if that seed of darkness is so deeply implanted that it is a driving force for that person to energetically still try to fuck with me, even though it's been 3.5 years of me working my ass off, struggling, raising these kids to be different than what they endured. But they deserve it. I deserve it. And if you're being held in captivity, however it is, just remember you choose to stay. It is scary to leave, but there is a way out. And I still have dreams that I'm working on to create a place for people to be able to go. That costs money. Or extreme faith, and then the blessings do arrive. And either way it goes, I will still work hard to keep telling my story, reminding you that you're not alone, building that place for security when I get the chance and the ability to do it. Because I will tell you, when the devils have no one else to eat, they will turn on each other. And then they will essentially bring hell back to where it belongs, which is within themselves. And if all of us will stop pleasing the devils, you'd be surprised heaven can re-enter the world in which we know. There's a fire within all of us, yes. That's that driving force. Don't let it eat you alive. Do not become somebody else's predator because you're so insecure that you can't even appreciate yourself. You don't have to go around looking at the world and judging them so you're never looking at you. Because essentially all you're going to do is destroy yourself and everything around you until you sit alone. And then when you sit alone, the darkness will come for you. And it will consume every aspect of who you are. So just remember, you choose to walk away does not mean the person you left, the energy you left is gone. That's where you have to do cord cutting ceremonies. That is where you have to return energy to sender. That is where you have to light a candle for your ancestors. That is where you pray to the Most High for protection, guidance. That is where you find your strength. When you realize you lived in the darkness and you chose to willingly go. Because one thing I've told my children and people that are old enough to understand, it is a slow, gradual descent into hell. And by the time you realize and you look around where you're at, now you've got to fucking fight for your life to get out. So if I can help you help your children not to entertain that darkness, I am knowing that my mission is doing exactly what it should be doing. Spreading information that helps people realize that there are nasty, villainous hearts in this world we exist in. I don't want to see anybody else go through what I've been through. And a lot of people don't even know a morsel of the truth of the battle. What it did to me, what it did to those kids, my kids. What it did to my family, friends. And it was a hard lesson. But I'm very glad it was a lesson learned. So I now know I am completely protected and guarded from the vicious attacks that come. From the person that tried to cage me, tried to own me, tried to control me, tried to traumatize me. And he didn't try, he succeeded. But the thing was, he didn't know in the end I would find that strength again, and I would fucking defeat his ass all the way to the end. So now I share my story, and eventually, everyone's gonna know his name. Not from me. But if you haven't met him, Lucifer. Don't dance with him. He's handsome, charming, till he gets what he wants. Then his goal is to destroy every aspect of your strength, beauty, grace, love, and nurturing side. Why? Because he can't accept what you have to offer him, and that angers him. So, I don't know, felt led to share that. And hopefully it will help somebody wake up. Get away. Save yourself. Do whatever you have to do to fucking leave the devil. Sending you peace, love, and light, and you're going to be all right.